At the registrar's voice asking for the third time, "Do you, the bride, give your consent?" I lifted my head and looked around the room. My father sat rigid on his chair, running the prayer beads fast through his fingers. Like every time his nerves were shot, he kept striking the tip of his shoe on the floor. Even from a distance, I could see the red burning in his ears. My mother was not doing any better. Under that black chador, she looked like she was in mourning. She had the cloth clenched so hard under her chin that I felt she was choking on her shame. And my mother-in-law? All I can say is she was white with rage, stone cold. Human nudged my side with his elbow and I came to. My voice was small and shaking. I started with my father's permission, and swallowed the rest and said, "With God's help, yes." No applause, no congratulations, not even a sprinkle of ceremonial sweetness over our heads. The moment we stepped out the door, my father, heading for his beat-up pecan, said to my mother-in-law in a deep, rough voice, "Take her from here straight to your place. I will host no wedding. I will pay no dowry." She tried to persuade him to keep me for a couple of days, for the sake of what people might say, but I knew that was not her pain. She did not want me in her home either. Maybe she thought if she kept me at my father's for now, she could pull something off and stamp a divorce in my papers before the ink on our marriage even dried. It turned into a fight over who didn't want me. Human saw how pale and sick I looked. He kept whispering, "Stay calm. It's hard at first. It will be okay, my love." My father's word was law. He basically washed his hands of me and handed me to Human's family, then hit the gas and drove off. Human and I, like two ducklings, trailed after his mother, who was cursing us up and down, and I went to her house. It was a small place. I knew that house would be our battlefield, but there was no choice. Human didn't have a penny to rent us a place of our own. When we arrived, Human changed out of his suit and slipped out. I knew he'd gone to burn through a whole pack of cigarettes and come back. His mother grabbed the phone and alerted every last relative to the disaster that had landed on her head. I curled up in a corner in that ridiculous white dress, and my mind flew back to when Human used to follow me from school and beg me at our gate to give me his number. Every time I saw him, I shook all over. My father was strict. He had sworn that if he ever saw a wrong move from me or my sisters, he'd bury us alive. His threats were not empty. I knew he'd do it as easily as drinking water. For a long time, I didn't dare even glance at Human, but as he liked to say, he was dying for me. He wouldn't give up, until the day my friend Hattie turned this scared mouse into a lion. She said girls our age had boyfriends by the dozen. We weren't going to do anything bad. She even quoted religion to me. "Love is good," she said. "Love is part of being human." With holy names and all the goading words, she finally got me to open my mouth. I told Human I didn't have a number. "Give me yours. I'll call from our home phone." The first couple of times I heard his deep voice when my parents were out, my heart did somersaults. I couldn't sleep from excitement. Little by little, the taste of it all got under my tongue. His secret letters, the flowers he picked from the park, the little treats he bought. Before I knew it, the girl who forced herself to sleep by 12 out of fear was meeting Human after class in the back alleys near school. Even then, when I came home late, my father gave me slaps and kicks. But a lie grows legs. I said the bell rang late, or I said I went to the shop with a friend. I got good at dodging and lying. A few months went by like that. Human said he'd come to ask for my hand by the end of the school year. I believed his love. I whispered sweet things in his ear whenever I could because I was full of knots and the ache of being unwanted. His parents had split when he was 7. His father left Iran for good. Things with his mother weren't great. He said her fussing suffocated him. Fussing that came from too much love. I counted the days to summer. He'd put a ring on my finger, I'd get my love, and escape my father's prison of a house. My wish came sooner than I thought, but not the way I wanted. I remember, it was my birthday. Human asked to come over that night. He said, "Your parents and even your sister sleep early. Your yard is full of trees. Who would see us?" He wanted us to sit together for 1 or 2 hours and make a sweet memory. The thought of it made me tremble. It made my heart flutter too. I stood at a crossroads. I was afraid someone would catch a whiff of it and my father would bury me before I ever wore a white dress. But Human kept insisting. He swore it would be fine. I slowly said yes. We set the time for 2 o'clock by the walnut tree at the back of the yard. That night, with 1,000 prayers, I slipped outside and waited. He climbed over the wall and dropped into the yard with a small cake in his hands. My heart was about to burst. I don't know when I became that brave. I only know that for Human, I'd do anything. Love had made me blind and deaf. We were lost in our moment when a beam of a flashlight hit our faces. I whispered, "I'm doomed, Human." The only image I remember after that is my father lunging at us, my mother behind him screaming through her tears, "Don't kill him." When I opened my eyes, I was on the floor. My father was over me. Human lay bloodied on the other side. A trembling woman's voice reached me. I realized it was Human's mother. She was begging my father to let him go. "He's young," she said. "He made a mistake. Forgive him." Those words dragged my father's father out of his grave. He roared, "Let him go? His body will leave my house." The shouting rose again. The neighbors gathered at our door. Someone called the police. After years of my father guarding his honor, our scandal fell hard to the ground. At the station, they said if Human and I wanted each other, they would marry us, take a formal pledge, and if our families bothered us, they would arrest them. My father said, "What kind of lawlessness is this? My daughter will marry without my permission?" In his eyes, the only end to this story lay in the cemetery. But they only needed our answer, and we said yes. After that came the words. So many words from my parents and from his mother. Most of them aimed at me. They blamed me for it all. Human told me these days would pass. He never said how much darker the next ones would be. We married in a hurry. I became the bride of a house where the woman of the house wanted me dead. A bride to someone who knocked on every door to make Human cast me out, or to push me to kill myself or run. Human worked at a mechanic's. Every morning he left, my misery began. I felt like a child whose guests have finally gone, and now the mother will beat her in peace. She didn't spare me even when he was home. At least if he took my side, I wouldn't feel such alone. From the moment I woke up, my day was wash and cook. That little house had to be swept and wiped. The yard had to be hosed and scrubbed. After 2 weeks, my back felt out of place. If I pressed a hand to it and let out a groan, she'd say, "You walked in here on your own. You are the kind of bride who came with no wedding and no dowry. Stop the whining before I wrap your hair around my fist." Human told me not to talk back to his mother. He said she would change. Every day she got worse. I didn't say a word. I knew the first answer out of my mouth would bring a storm. She would scream and curse me till the neighbors crowded around the door. I was draining away. I looked nothing like a newlywed. I was a graveyard ghost. I was the punchline for his relatives. They said Human ruined himself for this awkward sack of bones, that he even climbed over a family's wall for her. I swallowed the insults. I heard the jabs. Human's "be patient" never ended. One night, I untied my apron and I was about to faint from exhaustion. I turned off the lights and headed to our room. I froze when I saw her there. The hinge creaked, she stirred and muttered, "Go sleep in the other room. Close the door." I said, "Why did you change our places? Why are you not sleeping in your own room?" That simple question was enough to set her off. She shuffled toward me, her eyes heavy with sleep. "From now on, your place is that room," she said. "Over my dead body will you sleep next to Human again. Tomorrow or the day after, your belly will be up. Then you will drop a little whelp under our feet." The words made my ears ring. Human was dead asleep. She kept going. "Now get lost. I am sleepy. You are a guest here. I will not let you plant your feet in my son's life." And my life shifted into a stranger phase. Every time I thought it could not get worse, God sent something worse to greet me. Human kept saying it would be okay. When his mother wasn't around, he would come to me and take what he needed. But every night I slept alone in that room, sobbing till dawn. No one heard a sound. I began to think that if I killed myself, I'd be saving myself. In those days, when I was losing even the little faith I had in my own husband, when my father's words echoed in my head, "You did this to yourself," I saw something that changed my life. It was late afternoon. Human was at work. His mother was in the alley, gossiping with the other women. She had told me to change the pots for her flowers. I went to the storage room to pull out some planters. I had been in there a few times before. Each time I rushed back out. That day, because I wanted to keep busy and push my life's misery out of my head, I started digging through the things. Her old belongings, Human's childhood toys, old household items. And then a small box, almost hidden, caught my eye. I went to it. It was dusty and locked. The lock was rusted. A few pushes and it opened. Inside were some photos and papers. A picture of a tiny baby. I could tell it was Human. Why would she keep these here? I wondered. I opened the papers, one by one, and my jaw dropped. They were from this city orphanage. I read, and I could not believe that Human wasn't her biological child. I sat there for hours, staring at those papers. The clang of the yard gate snapped me back. I shoved the papers into the box and slipped out of the storage room. She saw I hadn't changed the pots. The insults started again. My ears were numb. I didn't hear a word. I kept thinking, what if Human finds out? A few days passed. Human and his mother could tell something was off in me. Human kept saying, "I swear I'll make it right." I felt sorry for him. He had no idea. Slowly, a thought began to gnaw at me. Why not lay down my trump card? Why stay under her boot? I knew her secret now. I knew how possessive she was of Human. I knew she would do anything to keep him from learning the truth. When she started her grumbling, I stood up to her. For the first time, I said, "Not my business. Do it yourself." She stared at me in shock. She stepped closer, and before she could get a fistful of my collar, I said, "I know Human is not your son." She froze. Her hand hung midway. She didn't know what to do. At first, she tried to deny it. She called me crazy. But she couldn't outrun the truth. In that moment, the ground under both of us changed. I'm not a stone-hearted person, but she had carved too much pain into me. I wanted to watch her writhe. I wanted that apron tied around her waist and those gloves on her hands, morning to night. I don't even know how brave I had become. I started threatening her. I said, "I'm not your slave. If you keep working me like a servant, I will tell Human your secret." She lunged at me. For the first time, I shoved her, hard, right in the chest. She understood I was no longer that miserable girl. Since Human couldn't fix it, I was fixing it. My bed moved back to his side. I slept till late morning. Like a freed captive, I went out whenever I wanted. I didn't lift a finger. From the pressure and the fury, her hair went white, one by one, and I took pleasure in it. Human was baffled. I said nothing. She didn't dare. The woman who feared I would get a foothold in her house became a grandmother sooner than she ever wanted. It wasn't planned, but she burned with it. A few times she tried to make me miscarry with strange herbal brews. She failed. In that same stretch, I found out the house had been put in Human's name in those early years because of the orphanage rules. That eased my mind. Even if she was choking on rage, she couldn't throw us out. Human asked me to help his mother. Seeing her like that made him sad. Each time I made an excuse, and his mother ended up cooking and cleaning for me, my child, and my husband. I'm not a bad person. I just carry a lifetime of grudges, a weight that still hasn't drained. My son is 4. I still can't forgive her. I know she wants my blood. I know she hates my child. I know she has wanted to tell Human and free herself, and every time she has pulled back, afraid of losing him. I keep thinking, if one day Human learns everything and forgives her, then what? That day my life will be hell. I'm trying to convince him to move away from her as soon as possible, so he can breathe, so can I.